You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence. Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. Cards, obviously super shows in the AWA. You've wrestled the WrestleMania, but the big question is what was the difference between the two? Like, working on a super show in the AWA compared to the vibe and feel of a WrestleMania. I understand that, to me, I agree it should be more about wrestling, but the entertainment aspect and the over-the-top bigness, could you tell the difference, like, clear cut as day?
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because Jimmy, when we went to WrestleManias, there was 20 different countries there with their news force.
Right.
All of a sudden you
Right.
see, you see people from Japan and London and Australia, and they were interested in, I'll never forget that when we were at the Superdome in Pontiac, Michigan, and it was WrestleMania 3, and it was Brian and I against the Sheik and Volkov. And during that match, Jim Duggan came in and more or less caused us to get disqualified. And we were supposed to be happy with that. We were supposed to, pat him on the shoulder and thank him for coming in and getting us disqualified. So that was Vince's way of introducing Jim Duggan at our expense to get him over. But the feel was incredible. I mean, and one thing I'll say is that we were supposed to originally go on second or third, and it wound up that they put us on in a final match, and Hulk and Andre were the last ones. And everybody was waiting to see Hulk and Andre. They didn't care about the Bees and Nikolai and Khosrow. So, it was great in the fact that those WrestleManias were so accepted and publicized, and that's due to Vince's connections and the promotions that he had, with Dick Ebersol and the production of the TV, and it was great to be on those. And I'll tell you, I had a hour match in Winnipeg, Canada. I think it was 1982. Yeah, and it was Nick Bockwinkel, and we went an hour draw. And that one, too, is also on YouTube. And that was a hell of a match, honest to God. And we had that crowd, which was a sellout crowd, into every move, every false finish, everything, right up until the end. And to me, I had 2 or 3 hour draws with Nick Bockwinkel, who I thought was incredible in the ring. He was one of the greatest. I had 3 draws with Harley Race, who in his time as NWA champion was, he'd do an hour draw every night. I had 3 draws with Ric Flair in Charlotte, North Carolina. I had one with Jimmy Snuka, and I had a couple, believe it or not, with Iron Sheik, Khosrow Vaziri.
Wow.
And those were a battle of, it was like getting a full set of implants with only a half a shot of Novocaine.
I got to ask, WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre, it happens to be our favorite match, my partner and myself, basically, because it was just, we were huge Hogan fans. The timing was right. We grew up with him in basically high school and stuff. So we get Hogan, Andre, the body slam, the 93,000. I'm really curious. Were the wrestlers looking at the match from the back? Because nowadays you see all this behind-the-scenes stuff. You see wrestlers watching important matches from the back and stuff. Were you guys like peeking out? Was anybody like peeking out watching Hogan, Andre do something absolutely legendary? Okay, not a clinic, but my God, what a story that was. Were you guys watching?
Yeah, it was, and I think some were, looking, but they had some monitors back there that you could watch it
Cool.
without, sticking your head through the curtains. And,
Cool.
it was hard seeing it that way because there were so damn many people, and you were at least 100 yards away from the ring at that where they had our locker rooms. But yeah, it was a great match, and Andre. He was such an athletic, big man, and he knew his position there. And Hulk was a golden goose, and he did him right, and it was a great match. And let's face it, the WWE today is what it is today because of Hulk Hogan. Really,
Thank you.
He was a golden goose.
Thank you.
He was.
Truth.
He was, and not to say he was the greatest wrestler in the world,
Of course not.
but for what he had, the package he had, his look, his rap, his entrance, his athleticism in the ring. I mean, if you can go back and you can see him on YouTube wrestling Antonio Inoki in Japan, 2 or 3 years before he came to New York. And here's a guy 6'8", 300 pounds that could actually get down on the mat and wrestle. I mean, he was good. He impressed the heck out of me.
How much pressure do you think Hulk Hogan, the person, was carrying with him during those days to perform on the level that he was to break the barriers he was being asked to break? How much pressure do you think this man had to deal with?
Well, he was under pressure like all of us were because we all had to perform, and he was in a different level. But at the same time, he was over. I mean, all he had to do was come to the ring and put his hand up like that, and the people would go crazy. I mean, he didn't have to do anything.
Right.
He didn't have to, leapfrog or drop down or hip toss and head scissor a guy and arm drag him, and he was Hulk.
Right.
And it was a great era, and it was funny because I mentioned this last week. I remember I have a Sports Illustrated, I think it was from 1980 or 81, might even been later, and it's got Hulk Hogan on it, and he's like this, and it says the top banana in athletics, highest paid performer, 10 million he made. Wow. He was the highest paid athlete, and I still have that Sports Illustrated someplace. And, he was, making $50,000 a week. Plus he was getting 12 to 15% of the net or the gate of championship matches. When they draw the $150,000, he was making like $25,000 a night.
Wow.
Right. Wow.
So it's fair to say.
And this,
It's fair to say that you wanted to be on that A card with him, right? Because the paydays must have been much better.
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
It sure was.
There you go.
It sure was.
Yeah.